Carney.
Michael, I'm not sure whether it's a good thing or a bad, but Donegal find themselves in the position today where the team just about fix itself. Starting with the goalkeeper Paul Durkin from the Four Masters Club, which of course is in Donegal town. In front of him is current All-Star fullback Neil McGee with two very mobile cornerbacks in Paddy McGrath and Frank McGlynn. The half-back line is anchored by Carol Lacey with Anthony Thompson on one wing and the highly adaptable Eamon McGee over on the other. Centre field contains the towering figure of Neil Gallagher and the bustling Rory Kavanagh. Donegal's half-forward line is quite unconventional. Ryan Bradley and Liam McClune get their share of scores, while Mark McHugh could pop up just about anywhere. And up front, Paddy McBrearty, recently turned 19, lines up alongside Michael Murphy and the top scorer, Colm McFadden. Alongside me is Martin Carney. Martin, who have you got your eye on today?
Well, I want to take a look at Mark McHugh, Ger. Like, he's one of these guys who can mix athleticism, tactical awareness and skill during a match. And the main thing is that he provides a link between attack and defence. He has wonderful vision to give the right pass, and the extent to which he can impose his will on the game today will be vital to Donegal.
Well, it's one of the game's anomalies, but while Donegal began their campaign in May, Mayo didn't have their first fixture until almost the last week in June. Then, as now, the goalkeeper is the very reliable 28-year-old David Clark, playing in his second final. His full back line has been unchanged during this championship, with Kevin Kane, the least experienced, linking with Ger Cafferty and Keith Higgins, who played in the 2006 final. There were injury and illness concerns, still are at half-back, but they line up anyway as of now with Donald Vaughan in the centre, flanked by Lee Keegan and Colm Boyle. Mayo's midfield is unchanged for the third game in a row. It's Barry Moran alongside Aidan O'Shea, who is still a slight doubt, also Moran's second final. In the half-forwards, much will again depend on the form of Alan Dillon, playing in his third final, in a line that also contains Kevin McLaughlin and Jason Doherty. The Connacht champions' leading attacker, of course, is Cillian O'Connor, with Enda Varley there on the right and Michael Conroy, who played in 2004 on the opposite wing. Martin, your thoughts?
Well, I'd like to take a look at Keith Higgins at left cornerback. The main thing he brings to the Mayo defence is his speed to the ball. He's also great ability to cover across the line. And he will be faced today, I think, with the task of marking Colm McFadden. I think his experience and leadership will be needed, and I think the outcome of his duel with Colm McFadden will go a long way to deciding who will win this game.
It's very blustery, but just about a quarter of an hour now to go before just the second ever championship meeting of these counties. It's the first All-Ireland final, of course, and it should be a compelling contest, Michael.
It certainly should. We'll be heading back again to Ger and Martin shortly. By the way, I understand that Mayo have won the toss and they will be playing from left to right as we'll be watching it. Pat Spillane, we've been talking earlier on about how much the two managers have brought the two counties on over the past 2 years, but also from a Donegal point of view, tactically you've been looking at Donegal and how they have progressed from 2011 to this year.
Yeah, well, we criticised them last year because they came to the All-Ireland semi-final against Dublin and they were a one-trick pony. They were set up defensively, they had no plan in attack. Poor Colm McFadden, the only player isolated in attack, and it was a tactic designed to be competitive and to be difficult to break down. But now this year, the big difference this year is that he has taken on board perhaps our criticism, because there's an attacking plan. There's an attacking element to Donegal's game where they're committing more players to attack, they're counter-attacking at pace, and the players are comfortable and they're playing with confidence now. So you have cornerbacks, wing-backs popping up and anywhere, and here you have the classic situation of Matt McHugh, who plays as a sweeper, and again he's initially at the start of the movement, and you'll see he continues his run the whole length of the field and he scores. Statistics are very impressive. Last year Donegal had averaged 13 points per game. This year they're averaging 17 points. And remember, he pulled another trick out, another rabbit out of the hat in the semi-final, where for the first time in the semi-final he committed Michael Murphy to attack, and they had 3 men in attack. So they're a different animal this year. 11 different scorers against Down, 10 different scorers the last day against Cork.
Alright, well, I can tell you the red carpet is out here at Croke Park at the moment because, of course, the President of Ireland, Michael G. Higgins, and his wife Sabine are with us here today.
Well, here you can see the presidential party, as it were. President Michael D. Higgins about to meet today's finalists. Uachtaráin Cumann, Luke Lasquale, Liam O'Neill. And there will be a presidential salute, of course, as per usual. It's a newly composed piece of music. And it was composed by Ronan O'Reilly, Director of Music at Artane Band. And how about that? These two men played many a battle. Brian Mullins on the right, of course, Jack O'Shea on the left. Jack was telling me last year they met for the first time in quite a number of years and had a right old banter. A lot of great old tales being told. And what about the tie that Taoiseach is wearing today? Unashamedly wearing his colours, and why not? His father, of course, Henry Kenny, was a member of the 1936 team that won the All-Ireland for the first time ever, and James Horan hoping here that he will be managing the latest Mayo winners, outsiders in the minds of the bookmakers. But they have their plans. Meanwhile, Jim McGuinness has one final word with his team. And what a journey they have made to get this far. And it's been a plan that Jim has had the whole time. The target being to be here in September in front of a packed house at Croke Park. 82,000 capacity here. It has been very cold, it's been blustery, it's been windy as well. But the sun is making an attempt now to come out here, as the players will be heading across very shortly now to meet the President. Part of the ceremonial that takes place before the major match here in September. And every available space at Croke Park has been well and truly filled here. The perfect setting, of course, quite unique always on All-Ireland final day. And amid the pageantry, the fact that all of the fans are able to mingle and have fun, have the banter and have the crack, roaring their encouragement and cheering on maybe a neighbour, a pal, a friend, somebody who was at school with them perhaps, playing in the biggest match of the year, on the biggest afternoon of their lives. And it'll be Mayo who'll be coming across here on the right hand side of the picture very, very shortly. And all, of course, getting ready amid all the tension and the nerves and the concern that biggest day ever, they will be able to play their best game ever. Donegal the favourites. Mayo coming in with their own hopes and their ambitions. Donegal going for just a second ever All-Ireland victory. And of course many links between Donegal and Mayo. We saw Paul Durkin there. His dad, John, is from Foxford in County Mayo. And we met Mick Murphy last night on Up for the Match, of course, son, father of Michael, the captain of Donegal. And now President Higgins coming out here to take the presidential salute. So this is the piece of music now that has been composed by Ronan O'Reilly, Director of Music at Artane Band, for President Higgins as he comes first of all to meet Donegal and their captain Michael Murphy from Glenswilly, his 6th year playing in the championship, and he's only 23 years of age. And then going through Paul Durkin and so on. It's a team of very strong characters, of course, who've adapted to the management promptings of Jim McGuinness and believed that an All-Ireland win was possible. They've won 2 very tough Ulster championships this year and last, starting at the preliminary round in each case. Rory Kavanagh there, one of the stars. There's Mark McHugh going up along, Ryan Bradley. And then it's Paddy McBrearty, Colin McFadden, one of those candidates, I'm sure, for Player of the Year. Then the referee is Maurice Deegan from Stradbally in County Laois. His linesman are David Coldrick from Meath, Eddie Kinsella, another Laois man, and the sideline official Conor Lane of Cork. And the umpires on duty, Kevin O'Brien, Sean Langton, Alan Abbey and Richard Oxley. So a big day for them as well. And now the turn of the Mayo captain, whose goalkeeper David Clark in the absence of the injured Andy Moran. It shows the strength of positive willpower and depth of the squad here, that they've got on with their business, Mayo, winning matches and not feeling sorry for themselves about the absence of their captain. Like Donegal, they've provincial championships won in the last 2 years under the astute management of James Horan. There's Aidan O'Shea about whom there is a little bit of a concern. Kevin McLaughlin, Jason Doherty there, the very Shule player. Alan Dillon, who's been second leading scorer. Enda Varley got the number 13 shirt. There's Killian O'Connor, Connacht champions, number 14. The final, finally, Michael Conroy, who played in this final back in 2004, came on as a sub that day and scored a goal. The introduction saw complete. The special guests here now can go and watch the first ever Donegal Mayo All-Ireland Senior Football Final unfold. Is it to be Donegal's second ever success, or will Mayo bridge a gap of 61 years and in the process banish the memory of 5 final defeats in the last 23 years? Time will tell.
And we saw with the President of Ireland there, of course, the President of the GEA, Liam O'Neill, accompanying him out. And this, it has to be said, a very difficult weekend for Liam O'Neill and the O'Neill family, with the death of Liam's sister Barbara at the weekend. She died yesterday morning after an illness, and of course we send our sympathies to the O'Neill family. It was Barbara's wishes that the President would fulfil his duties here at Croke Park today. So then, Colin Burke, we're about 5 minutes away from the throw-in of the 2012 All-Ireland final. Your thoughts on this one?
Well, I think we're going to see two teams who are similar in style. I think when Donegal played Kerry or played Cork, they faced teams who are trying to do things a bit different. I think Mayo are almost a carbon copy of Donegal, but they're probably not as advanced in the way that they played the game. And it is very difficult for me to see the Mayo forwards kicking some of the brilliant points that they scored against Dublin. That day they scored 10 points the first half. I can't see that happening today. Donegal have got progressively better as the season has gone on. They've become much more adventurous, and I think for me Donegal just have more power, and I think eventually are going to smother Mayo.
You know, they will tell you, Pat, in Mayo, that all the things that have happened in the last few years, 2004, 2006, the All-Ireland defeats, 1996 and 97, of course, that it doesn't matter, this is a different team. But if things start to go against you in the early part of the game, is there any fear this is starting to wander into your mind?
I disagree with you, Michael. I think this present Mayo are a different bunch of animals, both mentally and physically. I don't think they will suffer meltdown. I think today's game will be a close game, and normally I'd have a preference for one team to win over the other. I don't mind who wins. I really wouldn't begrudge any of the two counties All-Ireland success, but I have a slight fancy and a sneaky suspicion that Donegal will win, based on a couple of grounds. One, I think they're more battle-hardened and have beaten better quality opposition en route to the final. I think in terms of evolution as a team, I think they're a year ahead of Mayo. That's number 2. I think they play at a greater intensity and work rate than Mayo. Number 4, I would agree with Colin. I don't think the Mayo forwards are as good as they looked against Mayo. I don't think they will have a field day in shooting today. And I look back to the league match that they played against Mayo and Donegal this year. Donegal were behind and had 14 men. They put Michael Murphy in full forward and he changed the game. They won by 7 points. I think there's a big game in Michael Murphy, and I think Donegal will win.
Battle hardened are Donegal, but then I suppose in racing parlance, as Colin would agree, Mayo likely raced.
Well, there's always the possibility that we're reading too much into Mayo's performance against Dublin. I mean, after all, it is true that they panicked in the last 20 minutes and Dublin outscored them at 1 point during that by 8 points to 0, something that would never happen to Donegal, who are implacable and never panic. I think that Mayo are very negative defensively and very mean. They will disrupt and stop Donegal, unlike Cork and Kerry, who to a large extent allowed Donegal to dictate terms and play their own game. Mayo will not allow that. The question then becomes, whose defensive system is better? I think that Donegal's system remains virginal in the sense that it's never been penetrated. They've got great composure. They're implacable. They haven't panicked to date in 2 years. Even though the Dubs beat them last year, they only managed 8 points. And I think that Michael Murphy is bound to sooner or later live up to his great billing, you know, something that we've anticipated for years. On the basis that Donegal will not panic and maintain their icy focus, and on the basis that the referee will do his job properly today, I think that Donegal will win the game.
All right, a fantastic atmosphere obviously for today's final. So just for a resume, gentlemen, in one word, Joe, it's Donegal.
Yes.
Pat, it's
Donegal.
And Colin, it is.
For the first time I'm agreeing with my two colleagues here.
Colleagues.
You may get it right.
The All-Ireland football final of 2012 is just moments away. Commentary on the big match is from Ger Canning and Martin Carney.
Thanks, Michael. Well, it hasn't been a great month for favourites, you know. Cork were expected to beat Donegal, Dublin were fancy to beat Mayo, and Kilkenny were tipped to beat Galway in the hurling All-Ireland. They may yet do so. We'll find out next Sunday. Against that background, Mayo will still fancy their chances. Very few envisage the Donegal-Mayo final anyway. Martin Carney alongside me, some atmosphere.
Wonderful atmosphere indeed, Jerry. You know, a novel pairing, and you know, just watching the game and you know, as it'll unfold, it'll be fascinating to see the influence that Aidan O'Shea and Barry Moran can exert in proceedings. I think Mayo are playing with the wind, which is blowing down into the hill end. It looks like that. And Mayo need to build up a fair lead by half-time. Now, that will go against the grain, because in every game that Donegal have played this year, they have been ahead at half-time with the exception of the Tyrone game. So it's incumbent on Mayo to go into half-time with a lead if they want to come out and win this game at the end.
Well, it certainly is a fascinating prospect, and before the match gets underway now, there's going to be a moment's silence. And today we remember Barbara O'Neill. You heard Michael mention a moment ago there. She is the sister of the GAA president, Liam O'Neill, who very sadly died yesterday. And then Brian Maguire, of course, the 24-year-old from Fermanagh, who died in that terrible accident last weekend. Andrew Duffy, another 24-year-old who died tragically after Donegal's semi-final win over Cork, and he was a member of the Thurman Club. Sean O'Mahony, a great Pats man, very well known and loved in Dublin GAA circles, and also Father Sean Durkin, former county chairman in Mayo. And let me include as well in this Nevin Spence, his father Noel, and his brother Graham. Yesh Love Day, Garev Anonymnuka Ursel. Semi-finals, can the players overcome the nerves today and really do themselves justice in front of a packed crowd at Croke Park? It's the day of destiny for the players of Donegal and Mayo. It's the day when you want to play your best game ever. Maurice Deegan's in charge. The speculation is over. This is the real thing.
Yes, just could I review what I said a couple of moments ago. Actually, the players are changing ends contrary to what we thought here, and Mayo are defending the Hill 16 end of the ground, so that means they're going to face quite a wind in this half. It'll be interesting to see, therefore, will Donegal put in the traditional full forward trio of Murphy, McBrearty and McFadden, draw everybody else out and try and pound ball into those three in the hope of getting a good score.
The noise is deafening. Great sense of expectation among the fans.
And just watching the Donegal goalkeeper,
I think he was under the impression that they were going to play the other way.
That's right, yes.
Incidentally, the Donegal team arrived in what they thought was the right-hand dressing room, their normal dressing room, and they were told to change. Match underway. 123rd All-Ireland final. And straight away it's Donegal and it's Leo McClune. Bounce is awkward here. Kane came out to it, left it there. Colin Boyle, about whom there was a doubt in the build-up to this. First free taken by Donald Bohan. Kevin McLaughlin kicking it in. Controlled with difficulty but handled on the ground there by Killian O'Connor. The wind is quite a factor here this afternoon. It's swirling, it's nasty, and the players are going to have to come to terms with it fairly quickly. Look how far back Mark McHugh has got right from the very beginning. All the way in to Murphy, and an awkward bounce there took it away from him. First kick out of the match. Going to be to Mayo.
Yeah, just that ball again, badly directed into Michael Murphy, and it's notable actually that they've put the most inexperienced defender, actually, Kevin Kane, marking him. I wouldn't have thought that. I thought Cafferty might have got on him.
Murphy's playing in the conventional number 14 position, full forward, and Kane, as you say, has moved in from the corner. Moving in to take this one is once again Neil Gallagher. Had that tremendous match in the semi-final, dominated his patch. Lee Keegan, good to see him back. Touched away beautifully there by Paddy McGrath. Onto it quickly there came Mark McHugh. McHugh has already gone back deep. Nobody particularly taking him up, but then he's not going to do any damage in his own half of the field. He's moving forward, however, now as are Donegal with Leo McClune here, challenged by 3 Mayo players. 4. Challenges coming in smartly and sharply, had to. Donegal took it well. Good outlet pass there to Alan Dillon, who drifted away to the left-hand side. 3 players ahead of him. Breeze a factor, however. And the bounce awkward there, but well taken by Eamon McGee. Did really well to go back and forage for that one. Again, it's Mark McHugh. It's this time Rory Gallagher has taken over that role. Controlled here by Carol Lacey. 45 metres out from the target. Beautifully in there to Murphy. Great shot, great goal! 2 minutes and 25 seconds on the clock when he got that. What a start for Donegal here as they bid to win their second ever All-Ireland title. Brilliant ball in by Lacey. It's Murphy who has the height advantage over Kane, and maybe that's a marking task that's a bit too much for Kevin Kane. Murphy wins the first ball in, and it's a dream start for the favourites, the Ulster champions.
I just drew attention to it a moment or two ago, Ger. I felt it was wrong to put Kane on him, and again, what Donegal have cleverly done, they've put Murphy directly in front of the goals, but note his handling that time. It was perfect control from Lacey's delivery in, and what about the finish? It was emphatic.
Well, that is an enormous body blow for Mayo. The thing, an awful lot of time to actually repair the damage, but that's a poor kick in there by Barry Moore, and didn't look confident at all. Well, a goal that's come after 2 minutes and 25 seconds on the clock as the referee goes in. It's not the fastest goal ever in an All-Ireland final. That was 37 seconds back in 1962, scored by Gary McMahon for Kerry. But how about this? Once he got it under control, real danger, and there was nothing Kane could do about it. A ferocious shot. Happy fans.
Oh yes, it was a thunderous shot. My God almighty, David Clark, who's a wonderful shot stopper, barely saw it.
What a boost for Donegal. Playing with the wind, remember. Keith Higgins back in here as far as Colin Boyle. Forced out for most of that semi-final with a virus. Donegal have it back again, and that's McGlynn slung around there by Jason Doherty. No question about the free kick, and the referee is in very, very quickly just to warn Jason Doherty no more of that, or he could be seeing a card. Might even see a card before that. Very early to be incurring the wrath of match referee Maurice Deegan. It's a very early yellow card.
Very early card indeed. Again, I just wonder, was that warranted?
Here's McGlynn. The referee has decided he's going to lay down the law early on here. Worked by McBrearty. Cross here as far as Rory Kavanagh. Chasing after him Keith Higgins. There to O'Shea, but it's still Kavanagh. Very strong. Beautifully in here. Oh, another sling down challenge there on Mark McHugh. And if the referee gave one yellow card already, he'll probably give another one.
Yeah, just walk Mark McHugh coming through here. Lee Keegan catches him very high. That's a poor tackle by Lee Keegan. And, Maurice Deegan has no alternative but to issue a yellow card to him.
So 2 yellow cards in the space of about a minute, all of them inside the opening 6 minutes. And Mayo already a goal behind. Free kick coming up, which will be taken by Colin McFadden once Mark McHugh is okay. Well, he's a vital influence, Mark McHugh, that much we know from this year's championship. Terrific young player. Colin McFadden now from 13 metres out. Breeze blowing over his shoulder. Donegal's top scorer this season with 328, now make it 329. Could hardly miss from there.
Yeah, I know there's only 6 minutes gone or so, but already there's a problem emerging on the far side of the field from a Mayo point of view. Again, just watch that tackle there a few moments ago. That's where Jason Doherty got booked for.
Kick out quickly taken here out as far as Lee Keegan. And now he's got to be walking that tightrope of a yellow card for hopefully the rest of the match. Again, the bounce is unkind. Comes back here to Frank Buglin once again. What a season he's had. Terrific footballer. Carol Lacey has set up the goal for Murphy. Nicely down once again as far as Paddy McBrearty's. The marking's very loose. Donald Vaughan after him. Can't get to him. Brearty kicks it and McBrearty's shot has gone just to the left. And a missed opportunity to add to the 2 scores so far.
Yeah, the point I was making a moment or two ago, Gerard, down the far side, the Cusack stand side of the field, Donegal are running at the Mayo defence, and Mayo are finding it very hard to put in legitimate tackles and stop them.
Well, he has been concerned, James Horan, about Lee Keegan initially. Then there was a virus affecting Colin Boyle, and there's also been an old injury flaring up for Aidan O'Shea. But certainly Jim McGuinness must be very happy with the way the opening minutes of this match have panned out. Frank Buglin getting on the ball time and again. Really telegraphed his intentions there to Carol Lacey, and the referee whistles against Colin Boyle. And Colin Boyle is saying it was a legitimate challenge. Lacey saw it otherwise. And really, when you look at it second time of asking, the referee had very few options. Very few options.
Colin Boyle was late with that tackle, fair enough, free kick for Donegal. Can't argue with it.
Well, that's 3 fouls so far, 2 yellow cards given against Mayo players. They've got to be careful.
Got to be careful, and it's a sign of anxiety. They're quite edgy at the moment, not getting to the ball. Their touch is poor actually in their own forward line.
Lacey now can use the wind here, letting it drop in towards Colin McFadden, but it breaks away out as far as Keith Higgins again. Double Vaughan now. Gives the easy ball to Keegan, chance to carry it and then drive it forward. 1 against 3. Conroy getting it this time, and Conroy's on a little push in the back there, and Michael Conroy wins a free kick. Mayo here in a possibly scoring position.
Yeah, Conroy was outstanding actually in the semi-final against Dublin. His movement across the line was wonderful. That time he got out in front of McGee, got to the ball first, and McGee pushed him in the back. Difficult enough one this time though for Enda Varley.
Varley's scorer of 2 points in the semi-final win. Teacher works in Mayo, plays for Gary Moore. Scored a goal when these teams last met in a league match back in March. But Enda Varley now could raise Mayo cheers. They can put this one over. It's not easy, as Martin was saying. 30 metres from the target. Can't quite pull it in. And eventually comes safely back to Mark McHugh, and then away out of danger via Frank Buglin. Helped further away by Leo McClune. Neely Gallagher now. And Donegal just build it out. Uncomplicated football. Nice and simple. They know the pattern. They know the normal routine. Get themselves out of trouble quickly. Rory Kavanagh's ball there goes straight to Keith Higgins. Good work by the number 4 of Mayo. Up as far as Alan Dillon now. Kicking it into the 3-man inside forward line, flicked away well there by Neil McGee.
Yeah, that's the point I made a moment or two ago. A number of the Mayo forwards, when the ball has been delivered to them, their touch is poor. I know they're under a lot of pressure, but you need to have those balls sticking.
Well, maybe Kevin McLaughlin can raise a cheer or two. Back here as far as Aidan O'Shea. Once again, it's Lee Keegan prepared to join the attack, flicking it into the corner here. In as far as Killian O'Connor had that marvellous semi-final and looked to be pulled, but the referee says play on. 3 men surrounded him. It's still O'Connor trying to battle for this, only 20 years of age, and in the end the referee gives the free against him.
I thought there should have been a free in there a moment or two ago.
After O'Connor came away from that, he made contact with Eamon McGee. Referee hasn't seen it, but the umpires have. Play continues at the other end. Donegal advance. Dangerous situation, and it's Paddy McBrearty. Comes back down again. Back to McFadden. It's another one, and it's Colin McFadden this time with a goal after 11 minutes. His 7th ever championship goal, 4th of the season, and what a year he's having. It was McBrearty who struck the post, came back down, not dealt with by the Mayo defence, who are looking incredibly nervous. A very, very brittle looking defence, and it's penalised emphatically by McFadden, and it's 2-1 to no score, and it's looking very, very bad for Mayo once again, even at this early stage of the final.
That's wonderful opportunities by McFadden, it must be said. But once again, Kevin Kane's handling, just as other players' handling, Mayo players' handling, has let them down at the field. At the moment, I think Maurice Deegan has gone down to talk to their umpires at the far side, because I think Cillian O'Connor was involved in an altercation with Eamon McGee when the ball was cleared.
Yeah, as I saw it, Cillian O'Connor and McGee got involved. Play was moving up the field. This is where Cillian O'Connor felt he should have had a free, and then just watch. There you go, but there was another blow there.
Yep.
And if the referee saw that, then Cillian O'Connor could be in trouble, but it looks like the referee is going to hand out a yellow card to both players. The last thing that Mayo need at this stage is to lose a man. They've already lost Andy Moore in the course to injury since the quarter-final match against Down. I think the referee, Maurice Deegan, is just telling them to calm down now, nothing daft. But he can only do so much. It's up to the players. A yellow card per player.
Yeah, Cillian O'Connor is lucky that it's not more than a yellow card. Eamon McGee deserves a yellow card for going back to the original incident before Cillian O'Connor got involved there. I felt he should have been given a free in.
Yep, that's the way he felt it as well, but it didn't happen. And what a body blow this is to Mayo. Such a poor start, and so reminiscent of what happened when they were here last in 2006. Let's hope it doesn't develop into that kind of a game. Carroll Lacey, huge one down towards Murphy again. He's catching brilliantly into McFadden as a third, maybe. This time it's stopped well by David Clark. And if that had gone in, well, you would really feel for the rest of this match. There's a Donegal player still down on the field, down on the deck, Colin McFadden, and is getting himself back up. Okay, pride wounded maybe. Lee Keegan kicking. Durkin comes, takes it, spills away from him, and the referee, well, I thought they heard a whistle for a moment there, but the referee says play on. Leo McClune. Back once again as far as Carroll Lacey. Paddy McGrath now. Trying to go by Colm Boyle. And McGrath setting it up once again. This time it's Anthony Thompson. Played back into space, but Boyle takes over once again, and now there's a chance for Mayo to counter-attack. Really stung by the concession of those 2 goals. Some 8 minutes apart. 2 vital scores for Donegal to really settle down the nerves. Came in here as raging hot favourites in the minds of so many people. Well, it could so easily have been a third for Donegal, but for a very, very good stop a moment ago there by this man, David Clark, the 28-year-old from Ballina, Stephenites. Again, it is Donegal, if they can get to this ball, and even then, Mark McHugh went in with the challenge, won it. Comes back to Mayo once more. They need a score to settle themselves down in this match. Michael Conroy. It's very tight. Mayo looking incredibly nervous. Made a lot of mistakes. Well, this could so easily have been goal number 3 here, as this ball came down, was set up there for Colin McFadden, and it was stopped by the right leg of David Clark. While we've been watching that,
yes, when we were watching that, actually, Kevin McLaughlin just took his opportunity under a lot of pressure, sliced the ball beautifully between the posts, so at least it gets Mayo on the scoreboard.
In the 16th minute.
Yeah.
So 2-1 to a point for Mayo, and Kevin McLaughlin credited with that opening point.
The difficulty for Mayo at the moment is around the middle of the field. The two lads, Moore and Aidan O'Shea, are not able to get to the pace of the game.
But they've won it back here by a good piece of press to Cillian O'Connor, and then the foul was committed and there's a free kick. And Eamon McGee, who's already been yellow carded in this match, walks away from that somewhat ruefully.
Yes, it's interesting watching Aidan O'Shea at the moment coming over to the sideline to James Horan. I just wonder what kind of shape he's in. I've just a feeling maybe he's come in with a slight injury into this match.
Well, it was that old injury, wasn't it, that kept him out for nearly 3 months earlier on in the season. Cillian O'Connor hit some wonderful points in the semi-final. Usually plays with great calmness. A lot of pressure on his shoulders. Puts his boot through that, hits it accurately and puts it over the bar. And now that's exactly what the game has required. 2 points in a row for Mayo. First by Kevin McLaughlin and now by Cillian O'Connor.
Yeah, from a Mayo point of view, that should settle them. It should give them, it's given them a toehold in the game. But, they're not, as you said, Gerard, they're lucky they're not 10 points to 2 down, because that was a wonderful save by Clark a couple of moments ago.
Certainly, Martin, every time that ball goes down into that Mayo goalmouth, I think Mayo fans probably have their hearts in their mouths, because the backs are having their difficulties. Here it comes again. Murphy once more, still against Kevin Kane, and he sets off yet again. This time trying to fist it over the bar, this time stopped by David Clark. And the wind is a factor as well, and of course Donegal are very wisely using it during the opening minutes of this first half. Vaughan struggling to get away, but succeeding eventually. It's McLaughlin back to Donald Vaughan. Partly blocked there by Rory Kavanagh, took the heat out of it, comes back to Neil Gallagher, swiftly forward here as far as Ryan Bradley, then on as far as Colin McFadden. McFadden, the 29-year-old from St Michael's, taking it by Keith Higgins, and the referee eventually saw the foul.
Very good tackling by Keith Higgins. He stood Colin McFadden up that time. Colin might have given the ball that little bit earlier, but I think he double hopped. Certainly he overcarried it, and credit to Higgins with his tackling. Just watch this here.
Yeah.
Well, his soul on it okay, but I think it's steps really. It's steps more than anything else that he's blown for.
This is taken in here by Neil McGee. Jersey pulled by Enda Varley. Still gets away. Gap here, which Ryan Bradley can exploit. He can make up a lot of ground here. Wants to try and take it around Aidan O'Shea. Clearly is struggling with his fitness. Back once again it comes. The bustling left half forward punches the air as he puts that one over the bar. Ryan Bradley's first point. He'll be absolutely delighted with that. He was man of the match in 2 of the Ulster Championship games, where he was taken off before half-time in the semi-final. So that will do his confidence a whole lot of good, and he makes it 2-2 to 2 points.
Yeah, he'll be delighted with that, because he's been taken off actually in every game so far in the championship, but last day it was because of a poor performance of it. That was Summer Swamp. Lovely score.
Kevin McLaughlin. This time it's Alan Dillon towards McLaughlin, firing it in here, but into the netting, the side netting, all gone wide. And that's Mayo's second wide of this match, both teams with 2 wides.
Yeah, that was a waste of a ball. In fairness, Cillian O'Connor was the only one up. Maybe he was trying to direct it into Cillian, but he sliced it off the side of his foot and it went wide on his outside. But let's just see this kick out. Watch Durkin's kick outs. Will it go down the middle towards Neil Gallagher, who's broken most of the ball so far, or will they try it short of the wing?
James Horan there encouraging his players to settle down, get into the match a bit more, feel confident about the challenge. Bounces around there once again, this time as far as Ryan Bradley. Slipped into the half forwards here. Back to Colin McFadden it comes, kicking from 45 metres with unerring accuracy. How about that? What a score. A goal and 2 points now. The goal coming after 11 minutes. His first point was a free, and that one brilliantly put over from play. Hugely effective this season, Colin McFadden. and now 2-3 to 2 points.
That's wonderful efficiency, but if you go back to the source of it, there was a mix-up again under the broken ball by two of the Mayo players. Poor communication, lost the break, McFadden finished it off.
You anyway surprised that Mayo haven't got an extra player in defence playing against the breeze, with the power and strength of this Donegal defence so evident in the opening minutes of this match.
Well, they've been trying to play Keith Higgins over in front of the full back line, but the quality of the Donegal delivery has been such that they're cutting it out, and Murphy's positioning in front of the goal. Cafferty has gone back on him, but Murphy's positioning has been very, very effective, and his finishing, the finish that we saw at the beginning was really emphatic.
Once again, it's Kevin McLaughlin. This time, Lee Keegan trying to get it back towards McLaughlin, can't hold on to it. It's Donegal, ruthlessly efficient, doing the simple things really well. Once again, Ryan Bradley trying to break out of defence. And even when the challenge doesn't quite produce a result from Mayo, in comes a support player, Rory Kavanagh this time. Thompson then with the ball thrown. The referee says that he didn't like the way in which it was dispatched.
Yeah, he was throwing him for overcarrying, which I think is a bit harsh. I think Rory Kavanagh will feel hard done by at that time. I felt myself. But, you know, what was noticeable just before that moment, how sharper and faster Donegal are into the breaking ball. They're so much crisper and faster.
I think that was thrown all right.
Yeah.
And the referee having a word or two there still with Rory Kavanagh. Down on the ground at the moment is Eamon McGee. It's Eamon's 100th competitive match for Donegal this afternoon, and he'll want at the end of this to be able to celebrate it with an All-Ireland medal, the ultimate for the Guidor player. Very skillful player, very adept player as well, and able to go back and cover in the full back line should that be required, alongside his brother Neil.
That was a wonderful tackle actually from Mickey Conroy that put the ball loose, but when that ball went loose, Mayo were very, very slow to come in on the breaking ball. Donegal so far have looked more dynamic, more fluent when they have got the ball, and their methodology or their system is working much crisper than Mayo's. Mayo really haven't come out of the blocks yet.
I think the poor Mayo fans in that crowd there, when they saw 2 goals going in inside 11 minutes, they said, not again, not the third time in 7 years this is happening to us. They went here with a lot of faith and hope today, especially because it wasn't Kerry this year they were facing in the final. Well, Cillian O'Connor now scored 1 point from a free already, this from 45 metres by the time he gets to hit it. And will it curl in? Not quite. There was a tricky breeze down there today, and it's very, very awkward for the free takers.
In a game of this importance, and considering that you're whatever it is 7 points down, scores like that are needed to actually just eat into the lead and build up your confidence.
Well, James Horan will be aware that Donegal are a very, very good second half team, and having been given a lead like this, having won over a lead like this in the opening 23 minutes or thereabouts, they're going to be very hard to pin back. That's broken down this time by Barry Moran. This time the referee saw some holding, and it's a free kick which is very quickly taken as far as Kevin McLaughlin. Swiftly in here, just about taken by Paul Durkin with some difficulty. Back out as far as Paddy McGrath, and there's a lot of space now in front of the ball carrier, who's Rory Kavanagh. McGrath's kept going forward. Kavanagh once again. Inevitably it's Mark McHugh, the Sligo IT student. Lacey quickly down as far as Ryan Bradley, and now Paddy McCrearty. Back once again it comes to McHugh. 1 against 3 or 4. He was looking for McFadden, but it's the Mayo cover that winning it this time. Colin Boyle up as far as Michael Conroy. Chance to turn now. Mayo needing a score from him. Up into the sky it comes. Comes back down into the waiting arms here of Anthony Thompson, about to be challenged by Jason Doherty. Swiftly out towards Rory Kavanagh, and once again the would-be press of Mayo comes to nothing, because there's great composure and great strength and great togetherness normally about Donegal, except for that wayward pass. Back it comes to Donald Vaughan. Jason Doherty now. This time Cillian O'Connor taking over, hitting it to the right. kept in place somehow there by Enda Varley. Back down as far as McLaughlin, and a nice easy point taken there by Kevin McLaughlin. 2 points for him.
Yeah, that's a well taken score. Fair play to Conroy, kept the ball in play, and McLaughlin just composed himself sufficiently to get around Anthony Thompson and put it over the bar. But it's, you know, the previous 3 attacks from a Mayo point of view came to nothing. You know, aimless kind of balls in, and they need to be much more cohesive inside it, penetrate that Donegal defence.
Well, McLaughlin's been the brightest of their attackers so far. Just about 9 minutes to go to half time. Aidan O'Shea jumping, catching really well. Great piece of fielding. Referee gives him a free kick once the Donegal players back, and now the referee brings the ball forward 30 metres, and it'll be Alan Dillon who will take it. Alan Dillon has been one of the great leaders of Mayo football over the last 10 years. That was in for Conroy. And the best he could hope for was a throw ball, but the referee saw the ball handled on the ground anyway. And Mark McHugh was the last man up with it, so it's going to be a free kick.
Yeah, it's great covering by Mark McHugh once again. There's a tribute to his athleticism and his ability to read the game.
That was very nearly gifted to Mayo, but for a bit of vigilance on the part of the Donegal backs, and they were lucky.
I put a hex in them, I'm afraid.
Carol Lacey, as far as Ryan Bradley. On here as far as Frank McGlynn. As a support player outside of it, it's the other corner back, Paddy McGrath. Turned back once again here towards Neil Gallagher. Oh, it's a terrible ball. Maybe Donegal are just being lured into complacency here, as Enda Varley has it. Mistakes by Donegal, and Mayo are the ones who are the beneficiaries.
Yeah, the quality of the kick pass that time from Lee Keegan was wonderful. Beautiful crossfield ball, well caught by Varley, takes on his man, draws the free, gives Mayo an opportunity to cut into the lead once more.
Well, this ball here was oh so dangerous, and Paul Durkin did really well to kick it away.
You remember in the league semi-final when Kieran Donaghy did something similar, and Alan Dillon intercepted it, which resulted, I think, in a Mayo goal.
It'll be Killian O'Connor who will take it. He's pointed one from a free already. 25 metres or so out from the target. Usually a player who kicks the ball exceptionally well. 18 pointed frees out of 24 already in this year's championship. And this is one Mayo need, and he is the provider. So it's 2 for O'Connor, the Ballinturber player. And now it's 2, 3 to 4 points, and the gap is 5.
Yeah, Mayo will be very happy with that, Ger, because they've come back from the gates of hell, so to speak, and around the middle of the field now they're starting to get a little bit of a grip. Aidan O'Shea's caught a good ball, Barry Moore has broken 1 or 2 on Neil Gallagher, and now maybe they're getting into the rhythm somewhat.
But those 2 goals from Michael Murphy and Colin McFadden, 3 minutes and 11 minutes on the clock. They are the most telling scores so far. As it's kicked out into the middle here, and it's won back by Mayo, and then the loose ball swiftly picked up here by Donegal once more, and it's Mark McHugh back there doing the spade work. His dad, of course, Martin, played 20 years ago against Dublin in the 1992 final, scored 3 points in that match. James kicking it long, or rather Mark kicking it long, intended for Michael Murphy. Instead it is Ger Cafferty who's now gone into a marking job. Line ball's going to be to Mayo. Linesman over there is David Coldrick. Donald Vaughan kicking it all the way back to his goalkeeper to adjust his footing there, David Clark. Aidan O'Shea. They have taken a long time to settle in this match. They're still in the hunt. Kevin McLaughlin. Keegan threading it forward towards Conroy. Swiftly across comes Neil McGee. Well, it's some 10 minutes now since Donegal's last score. Meanwhile, Aidan O'Shea on the attack from Mayo. Varley steps away from trouble, and then good little interception there by Leo McClune, but the referee says it was an illegal one. Free kick quickly taken. Lots of spare players back there for Donegal, one of them Frank McGlynn. just making sure that the danger is snuffed out immediately. Neil Gallagher resolutely carrying it forward here, helped by Eamon McGee. Carol Lacey's wave up there, up joining the attack. This is something that Donegal do, of course, bring their half-backs forward on occasions, looking for breaks. Mayo trying to cover the gaps. Dillon inside here, taking a return ball. Kicks it well, comes back down off the Michael Conroy and he loses it. And inevitably Mark McHugh once again back, but the referee saw a push this time and he's given a free kick against Donegal, much to the annoyance of the Donegal followers.
Yeah, I think it's of the soft variety, it must be said. The ball came off the post that time. It was a 50-50 tussle, I think, between the two of them. No point in arguing with Maurice Deegan. He has given the decision. Dillon takes a shot from outside. Just watch it, it hits the post, comes down. It looked to me a 50-50 contest, but the referee has given Mayo the opportunity to narrow the lead.
Thought there might have been a free much earlier on at the time when we had yellow cards issued to Killian O'Connor and to Eamon McGee, but they get the free kick belatedly anyway, much later, and it's going to be Killian O'Connor who will take it, and this can now make it a 4-point game after a dreadful start. Into the wind on a swirling day at Croke Park. Killian O'Connor kicking across left to right, straight between the posts in the end. 3 points for him, all from frees, to go with Kevin McLaughlin's 2 points from play. That makes up Mayo's 5, and it's now 2-3 to 5 points, or 9 points to 5.
Yeah, credit Mayo for the way they've come back into the game, and notice where Michael Murphy is playing out at the moment, around the middle of the field. They've got quite disjointed out in that sector at the moment, have Donegal. A lot of the deliveries inside are being intercepted now by the Mayo defence, who've started maybe to read the situation a bit better.
Well, Mayo will have the breeze for the second 35 minutes, but then the win never won an All-Ireland final, it never will. This is Colin Boyle, pursued by Leo McClune. Referee saw the foul, quickly taken. Good work here by Michael Conroy. He's working across that line from right to left, and he's keeping Neil McGee on his toes, and he's getting in timely shots like that, and he's put it over the bar. And it's a very good point by Michael Conroy, who came off the bench in 2004 in that final against Kerry. He was wearing number 30 that day. He was only 19. He came on and he got a goal and a point. He's got a point here, and the gap's down to 3, and there are 2 minutes to go to half-time.
Yeah, credit Barry more in that time, the way he broke the ball away from McGee, and Boyle picked up the break, gave it to Conroy, and Conroy's confidence was manifest. Fine score.
Mark McHugh now, with Rory Kavanagh kicking it forward. In there as far as McBrearty. It's lost, turned over, and it's Mayo who are working hard now, really working incredibly hard, getting themselves back into this match, showing the necessary industry. That's nicely up there towards Killian O'Connor. He has to battle for it, try to keep it in play. Thompson gets onto it for Donegal, surrounded and held, and it's going to be a free for the Ulster champions. It's taken by Eamon McGee, close to half-time. Here comes Ryan Bradley. Remember, it's a Donegal side that had a very nice handy lead at one stage. They had 2 goals and a point in front after 11 minutes at 7 points up. Carol Lacey. In as far as Murphy. Intended there for Gallagher. Donegal player on the ground, referee busily keeping an eye on the stricken players, and it's got to be a free kick.
Yeah, Colin O'Boyle this time I think is the one that's going. There's certainly a late tackle that time by Donal Vaughan. That's what it was called for. Okay, the high tackle maybe from Colin Boyle, but originally I think the free was for this one here. The late tackle by Donal Vaughan on Carl Lacey.
And once again the decibel level rises here, and the referee has now gone down to have words with Donal Vaughan, and he's going to get a yellow card as well, I imagine. So that will make it 4 Mayo players yellow carded in the first half against 1 from Donegal. We're in stoppage time. Chance now for Donegal to add to their lead. It's been whittled down to 3 where once it was 7. So 2 minutes of added time being played, and the free taker will be Colin McFadden once again, the 29-year-old teacher, teaches at St. Eunan's College, and I'm told that today is the feast of St. Eunan, who is Donegal's patron saint, smiling down, I'm sure, on the Donegal charges. McFadden last scored in the 20th minute, so 15 minutes on from that. Can he get another score here? And a late point for Donegal before the break. Referee having a word or two with players out of picture. Chatting there with Anthony Thompson. Meanwhile, all eyes on Colin McFadden. Can this go over? Can this extend Donegal's lead? The answer, yes. A very emphatic yes. And he's got a goal and 3 in this first half. Wonderful performance by the number 15. And so 4 between them once again.
Yes, and it's their first score actually, I think, in 16 minutes, which gives a good indication of the way that Mayo have come into the game. Mayo's spirit kicked in, character showed in their play as the half went on, because that was an appalling start that they had.
Last few seconds then of this first half of the All-Ireland Football Final 2012. Donal Vaughan setting off once again. This time it's carried on by Jason Doherty. They need a big input from him. Higgins up there, an opportunity maybe. Donal Vaughan recycled once again. Back it comes here towards end of Varley, kicking under pressure and pucking over the bar. End of Varley gets his first point of the All-Ireland Final. And once again it's back to a 3-point game. And Mayo, who made the most awful start to this All-Ireland Final, are right back in the mix once again. We've played the 2 minutes of added time, and the referee, I imagine, will get the whistle to his lips very, very shortly now, once this is kicked out by Paul Durkin. And it's half-time in the All-Ireland Football Final 2012. Cillian O'Connor got 3 points for Mayo, all of them from frees, but Donegal made the most wonderful of starts. A goal after 3 minutes by Michael Murphy, then another goal by Colin McFadden after 11. And you may remember Colin McFadden had a very good chance of getting a third, but for the intervention of goalkeeper David Clark. But to their credit, Mayo, playing against the wind, have battled back strongly. They've forced their way back into this game, even though they haven't been dominating the exchanges around midfield. And at half-time in the All-Ireland Final, it's Donegal who lead. Donegal 2 goals and 4 points, Mayo 7 points. Analysis coming up right after this.
The Aircom Championship Challenge. Why not challenge yourself at experiencemore.ie?
It was the start of an amazing journey.
My name's Mary.
After Mary's success, 16 new hopefuls take up the challenge. Who will be the next champion? Brand new MasterChef Ireland starts Thursday, October 4th on RTE2.
Proud sponsor of MasterChef Ireland.
Play the Aircom Championship Challenge at experiencemore.ie.
Fuel sustains performance. Lucozade Sport's unique formulation helps enhance fluid absorption while delivering fuel to working muscles, helping top athletes go faster, stronger, for longer. Lucozade Sport. Faster, stronger, for longer.
We all know who loves a bit of telly.
But on October 24th, a telly lover you know
may well be sitting in front of a blank screen.
Because that's when the old analogue TV signal is being switched off. People who currently use an aerial to get TV
need to switch to ServeView by October 24th.
After that, no ServeView, no telly.
Maybe somebody in your family or in your community could do with a hand.
Help a telly lover you know switch to ServeView.
Let's get connected. Go to serveview.ie to see how you can help.
A financial plan for every fan. Ulster Bank, proud sponsors of the GAA Football Championship.
At half-time in Croke Park in the 2012 All-Ireland Football Final, Donegal leading Mayo 2 goals and 4 points to 7 points. And here with me in studio, Joe Brolly, Pat Spillane and Colm Moore. 3 points in it, Colm. It could have been a lot worse for Mayo.
It could have been, and I must say I found that first half very entertaining. I think we all said when Donegal went 7 points up after getting 2 goals, oh no, it's not going to happen again. But I think Mayo's efforts in recovery have been heroic. They've shown fantastic character, and they've got great points there from Enda Varley and Michael Conroy, and really the likes of Alan Dillon and Kevin McLaughlin and Donald Vaughan have been inspirational when it looked as if Donegal were just going to overrun them. It was like a big steamroller there at times, and maybe the only thing that Donegal haven't planned for ever is to be 6 or 7 points up in the first 10 minutes of the final, because I'd say the plan for everything else. But Donegal have lost their grip. Why Michael Murphy has come out and why they have stopped kicking the ball into him. Mayo made a bad mistake leaving Kevin Keane and Murphy and paid a very heavy price for it, but it's a good game and it's still in the balance.
I speculated before the match to you, Pat Spillane, that what might happen if Mayo got off to a bad start, and they surely got off to a bad start. A goal in the first couple of minutes.
And you might remember my answer. I said this Mayo team are a different animal. This goal came from, it didn't come from the blackboard, it didn't come from the training ground, it came from good, simple, old-fashioned, direct football where you play the ball in long to your, arguably your best forward, Michael Murphy. And as Colm alluded to, I mean, it was a mismatch. I can't understand why Ger Cafferty wasn't initially given the role of policing Michael Murphy. But in the first couple of minutes, Donegal were playing this direct ball. Murphy, McFadden was winning it.
Great hands, hasn't it, Pat?
And then for a strange reason, they sort of abandoned this long direct ball, and Michael Murphy has either been brought out or himself has dropped out. So it's been an enjoyable, it's been an entertaining game. One of the things that intrigues me about Donegal is that they have a tendency to sit back on leads and be a bit casual. After 7 minutes in the Kerry match, they were 1-2 to no score up, and they didn't score again for 15 or 16 minutes. And today again, 2 goals and 1 point, 7 points up after 11 minutes, and they sat back and went 16 minutes without scoring. It's an enjoyable game, though, Michael.
I'll tell you an interesting thing about it. For the first time all year, Donegal are jittery. You could sense that. When they had that lead, the unexpected lead, the 2 goals and a point, and I mean, at that stage you thought, I mean, somebody behind me said, Mayo have collapsed during the parade this time. But there's no collapse on at all. And in fact, the reason that Mayo have come back into the game, apart from the fact that they have played well and they've scored 3 brilliant points, that were very, very difficult scores, and they've kept their concentration on, but they've been helped by 6 unforced errors where Donegal turned the ball over, casual hand pass, panic-stricken foot pass, things that are uncharacteristic, and that says to me that Donegal are feeling jittery here because they are in an unusual position.
It's because they got off to that good start. We saw Michael Murphy's goal. They had another one in the net a few minutes later.
Yeah, well, Donegal are used to grinding out wins rather than playing champagne football in the first few minutes. But again, unfortunate, a mistake from Kevin Keane when the ball comes across here. Shot for a point, comes back off the post. Keane should have cleared that ball, dropped it out of his hand, and McFadden was very clinical, put the ball low. David Clark is a very good goalie. He couldn't get near either of those goals, but 2 bad mistakes by Kevin Keane. And then after that, Mayo switched Cafferty on to Murphy. And things have changed around, things have stabilised, but I think that, as Joe has said, Donegal or Jittery, they have never found themselves in this position. It's new territory.
Because they're being taken on. They're being taken on physically, and they're being run at, and they're in their face.
You're right about that, but I mean, like the referee absolutely scotched the tactical fouling from Mayo with the first 2 yellow cards. First 2 fouls, 2 yellow cards. So now you're in an even playing field.
We have another break to take here on the programme. More reaction to that first half straight after that. Now also there's a chance for you to enter our special competition because you might be heading to New York.
SuperValu, proud sponsors, real supporters of the GAA Football All-Ireland Championship.
An American prisoner of war has been turned.
Not out here risking federal prison on behalf of a crazy
Maybe it is
person.
all in my head. I have never been so sure.
She's never gonna set foot in Dublin again. I am not a terrorist. I'm a U.S. Congress. I didn't want to here in the first place.
Forget about before. This is now.
You still have your twisted theories about me?
You are a traitor and a terrorist, and now it's time to pay for that.
The brand new series of Homeland starts October 2nd. You'll see it first on RTE2 and RTE2 HD.
First though, Bach's Sublime Prelude and Fugue in B-flat major. It's another bright morning.
Wuthering Heights now. Let's take a trip to the misty moors of Emily Bronte.
Now though, a piece that's going to take you on a very different kind of journey.
Elgar's Chanson de Matin, played now by the Royal Philharmonia Orchestra.
It's late, but it's never too late, as we know here on The Blue of the Night.
I have a very particular set of skills that make me a nightmare for people like you.
He was my son. We will have our revenge.
You have other sons, and if I kill you, they will come and seek revenge.
For sure.
And I will kill them too.
Liberty Insurance was founded here in Boston 100 years ago with a simple philosophy, doing the right thing by its customers. And now, Liberty Insurance is in Ireland, and they brought that philosophy with them. So when it comes to motor, home, and commercial insurance, you'll have someone in your corner every step of the way, which is exactly the way it should be. Call 1890-89-1890 or visit libertyinsurance.ie. Liberty Insurance, insurance the way it should be.
The Aircom Championship Challenge. Why not challenge yourself at experiencemore.ie?
Welcome back again to our coverage of the 2012 All-Ireland Football Final. At half-time, Donegal leading Mayo 2 goals and 4 points to 7 points. The second half coming up shortly. But right now, though, it's competition time here on the programme. There's a trip to New York in the offering, and here's what's involved and how you could win it.
Ulster Bank, proud sponsors of the GAA Football All-Ireland Senior Championship, are giving you the chance to win a fantastic 5-night break for you and a friend to New York City. This great prize includes return flights, a 4-star hotel stay in Manhattan, and 2 tickets to see New York's first GAA Football Championship game of the season next May. On top of all of this, and in association with RTE Sport, there's also $5,000 spending money to make it a trip to remember. For your chance to win, we want you to answer this question. Which of these is a well-known island located in New York Harbour? Is it Robben Island, Achill Island, or Ellis Island? To enter, call 1515 71 71 74. or text the word football followed by your answer and name to 57111. Viewers in the north can also text to 57111 or call the number on screen. You must be over 18 years of age to enter. More details on RTE Airtel page 194. The lines will close at midday on Monday the 24th of September, and the lucky winner will be announced on Championship Matters on RTE2 on Thursday the 27th of September.
It will indeed. We speculated when Mayo conceded those early goals and fell 7 points behind at one stage that there was a fear of a collapse, as you guys have been saying. That didn't happen, but they had to kick some great points to get themselves back into this.
15 minutes before they got their first point from play, but boy did they kick some fantastic points, and Kevin McLaughlin steadied his ship with a fantastic point from 40 yards. And all these kicks are all difficult. They're from long range, they're from difficult angles, and there's guys coming down on the kicker. This is Mickey Conroy. Now watch when he kicks it, like there's two guys going down in his boot. It's a brilliant kick. And Mayo are having more success when they come down the wings like they did against Dublin and shoot from outside that D. They're very effective and great points.
An issue that's emerging now in the game is that Mayo are blocking up the central column to their own defence, which is making it very difficult for Donegal to play their preferred running game. Donegal tried to kick with very limited success against Cork. I know that they've got the goal today from Murphy, but that's really the only return they've had from the long ball.
This is the best of the points from the outside of the left foot.
But what's happening here is that Mayo are blocking up that central column with the two spare halfbacks. Donegal are having great difficulty running the ball through the middle, and it's forcing Donegal to do things that they don't normally do. So tactically that's working well.
Okay, now earlier in the programme we heard from former Mayo player Anthony Finnerty and from Donegal's winning captain of 1992, that was Anthony Malloy. There with Marty Morrissey again right now.
Thank you very much, Michael. Yes, plenty to talk about down the sideline as well. Anthony Finnerty, it must have been heart attack stuff when you saw 2 goals going in after just 11 minutes of play.
Yeah, it was a bit of the deja vu again, Marty. We had a nightmare start, or something like 7 points down after 11 minutes, but fair play to the boys. They have rallied really well and made a great comeback, and we're well in the game now. We would be happy enough at half-time.
Anthony Malloy, Michael Murphy scoring a goal after just 3 minutes, but then as the lads were saying in the analysis there at half-time, Michael seems to be out around midfield.
Yeah, well, we got off to a dream start really, and all over the pitch, like our back settled terrible well, like we were good in there, and we were playing the ball in quickly, the long ball into Michael Murphy was working. All of a sudden, I think maybe we went 7 points up. We went back to typical Donegal football again, a bit of messing, and we slackened off and made mistakes. Now, why they stopped this, I don't know. Why they didn't leave Michael Murphy in where he was, like, and we done some stupid things as well, like, and lost possession and all that there, and Mayo punished that.
Would you now change the plan at half-time if you were Jim McGuinness, put Michael Murphy at the edge of the square and boom it in long?
Well, it's very hard, like Jim, we're looking up the pitch there, into a breeze here. It's very hard, and there's a swirling wind out here, like, and I think they'll probably go back, I think, to what we know best anyway, it's a short game, and we tried 1 or 2 long balls, like, and there were poor balls and they were cut out as well, like, but I think they'll revert back. I think we're a bit nervous, we're not as good as our ball handling has been, against Cork, or as crisp, and I don't think we're running into cul-de-sacs as well, so we need a bit more width as well going forward.
Mayo have been heroic, as the lads in the panel have said at half-time. You must have been inspired by the way they're taking their points, and they have showed a lot of character, haven't they?
They have shown great character all year. Even in the semi-final against Dublin, the last 5 minutes of the game, they pushed on and won it. Now we're in a position that we're back in the game again. But Donegal have always been very, very strong in the third quarter. And if we can stick in for the first 15 minutes, I think we're going to have a very interesting finish to this game.
Anthony Malloy, Anthony Finnerty, thank you both for joining us. The word here, by the way, Michael, is we could be heading for another draw. Back to you.
Marty, would you stop, please? Thanks for that. A crowd of 82,269 here at Croke Park today. They want to see this game finished, I can assure you, this afternoon. Colm O'Rourke, the door is open again for Mayo. 3 points in it. Can they now turn this around?
Well, certainly the last 15 minutes of that half, their tackling was ferocious, their work rate went up. You know, they looked very nervous, and they've turned it around and made Donegal look nervous. Sometimes in an All-Ireland final or in a big game, it's actually easier to play when you're behind because you throw a certain amount of caution to the wind. Donegal sort of retreated back into their shell a little bit, and they started to make a lot of mistakes that they haven't done. Even though Mark McHugh and Carl Lacey's got on the ball quite a lot, Mayo now have started to get to grips with the kick-outs around the middle of the field. They've started to throw their bodies in and win breaks, and it's going to be very interesting. They've expended a huge amount of energy to get this far.
Mind you fellas have been pointing out that the third quarter of the match, which is the next 15 minutes basically coming up, are Donegal's. This is the way they play it all year. This is where they do your damage to you. So therefore they should push on.
And I said, I mean, they've outscored the opposition in the 6 games so far by 21 points in this third quarter. But as the boys alluded to there in the interview, there's no doubt about it that Donegal are nervous and they're under pressure, and they've made more unforced error in that first 35 minutes than they have in the 6 previous championship games. So if Mayo can get in their faces and be as aggressive as they were 15 minutes, well then Mayo are in with a damn good chance.
Donegal are not a brilliant team. They've got to play at 100 miles an hour, and that's what they've done all year. For the last 15 minutes of that first half, they haven't played at 100 miles an hour, and that's what Jim McGuinness will be trying to get them back up to now.
There's an All-Ireland title at stake. You would be nervous, wouldn't you? Time to hand back to Ger Canning and Martin Carney.
Thanks, Michael. Yes, 35 minutes from realising their life's ambitions. No changes made by either management team. As far as we can see, before we start this second half, only 3 between them. The match being watched all around the world. Wherever you are watching it, we hope you're enjoying the contest. And I'm sure Edel Coley from Balmullet and Aidan Elder in Delhi are enjoying it. Second half then, and straight away it is Aidan O'Shea who kicks it forward here, inside towards Enda Varley, who got a very, very good point during that first half. Mayo trying to make the best possible start now. And add to Donegal's woes, there you have Ryan Bradley holding onto the ball too long, conceding a free kick, and an early chance now to put some pressure on that Donegal defence. This is going to be taken by Alan Dillon. Dillon now, well, he's almost 29 next Friday, so looking for an early birthday present as he kicks this one in dangerously in there. Well fielded at the back there, inevitably by McGee, Neil McGee. Back out towards Mark McHugh. This once again Ryan Bradley. Caught for overholding a few moments ago. Out as far as Kavanagh, midfielder, alongside Gallagher. Frankie McGlynn hitting it forward there towards Mark McHugh. Chance to play the ball in towards Liam McClune, and a real chance. Well, there was a moment ago there until such time as Aidan O'Shea got back, swung him around, and the referee blows his whistle. A look of injured innocence on the face of Aidan O'Shea.
No, this time Aidan gets them all wrong, takes them down, but it must be said Donegal playing into the wind will be able to go back to the style that they're most used to and most comfortable with, and it was noticeable that time. The McHugh short hand passing game was very much in evidence leading up to that free in.
Colin McFadden then ready to get the first point of the second half. Goal and 3 in the opening 35. And it's interesting that 3 of his 4 points have come from frees. Donegal with 2 early goals, of course, if he joined us late. First 11 minutes of the first half. 2 points from play, one of them by Ryan Bradley, the other by Colin McFadden. That's been their lot. So now Mayo with Colin Boyle, pass fit to play in the last few days. Kevin Kane, who really had his hands full there in the opening minutes of this match when he was marking Michael Murphy. Here's Enda Varley trying to slip away from the challengers, overdoing it, eventually laying the ball off, and the referee has given a free in, and he's lucky to get that one in the end because he almost held on too long, I felt.
Yeah, he ran into a bit of traffic here. He got past Paddy McGrath once again. Lacey comes in with the tackle, and he more or less was crowded out, lucky enough to get it. But just going back, it was fascinating to watch the kick out that time from Clark out to Colin Boyle. Every single Donegal player retreated back the pitch, so they're going to go back to the defensive mode that we saw last year, and that defensive template that served them so well.
Killian O'Connor will take this, so they can go point for point. Start of the second half, these teams. and just keep 3 points between them. O'Connor with his 4th, all frees. Mayo fans still full of hope. It's been a long time, 61 years since the Sam Maguire Cup last went back to County Mayo. Will today be the day?
Yeah, big plus for Mayo actually has been the display of Enda Varley in the last while. He has won quite a lot of ball in front of Paddy McGrath, and that's hugely encouraging for them. Paul
Durkin kicking into the wind, and he's done really well, planting it in midfield. This time it's Mayo with Aidan O'Shea across as far as Lee Keegan, trying to begin the next Mayo attack. 3 players all arriving at once, but there was a push in the back, and the referee gives the free kick to Donegal, which is taken by Neil Gallagher. Carol Lacey, McHugh, and a string of hand passes before Rory Cabot eventually carries it deep. Frank McGlynn, handled with difficulty there by Paddy McBrearty. So a shot come down off the upright earlier on before Colin McFadden got the 2nd goal for Donegal. It's back once again with McGlynn 5 metres from the target. McGlynn once more. Vaughan trying to get in a tackle, but he doesn't succeed, and that one is beautifully over the bar. Frank McGlynn showing the touches of a number 14 and not a number 4. Real predatory instinct here. He's up there, he looks composed, he looks confident, and he hits it over, and he's now got a goal and 4 points in this year's championship. A real all-star.
Certainly the impact of that was immense, but lateral play by Donegal, patient play by Donegal, McGlynn making the overlap and having the confidence to shoot another very good point.
Well, David Walsh is coming in, and the player going off is Ryan Bradley, so once again he is taken off in a Donegal match, and this is so early in the second half, only 5 minutes in, but David Walsh will probably feel that he has a point to prove, and was very unlucky in the first place not to make the starting 15. Broken down this time by Barry Moran. We were sitting in the stands last year when Mayo reached the semi-final of the championship, only to be knocked out by Kerry. And Dylan was looking for an extra couple of metres. So now Lee Keegan, Donald Vaughan. That's well cut out by a very vigilant Eamon McGee. Line ball taken quickly back as far as Lee Keegan. Controlled here by Barry Moran. Mayo looking for scores. A point will do at this stage. He's put it wide. Missed opportunity.
Very much so. Good drive by Barry Moran. Needs to be doing more of that. Just shows you what he's capable of if he does get forward. Unlucky a little bit with that it went to the wrong side of the post.
Still 4 points between the teams. Donegal have led this match right from the very beginning. Wonderful start for Jim McGuinness there alongside Rory Gallagher. Worst possible opening for James Horan, who will take an awful lot of comfort from the way in which his side battled hard. Big huge leap in the air. 18 scoring chances created by Mayo as against just 12 for Donegal. That's an interesting statistic. All very well creating the chances, but they haven't been finishing them at the regularity that they would wish. Michael Conroy was pushed in the back, and I think he's telling the referee this has happened more than once before, ref.
We'll just go back to the source of that once more. A great bit of feeling by Barry Moran, the aforementioned Barry Moran that we talked about a moment or two ago. He's definitely has grown into the game as the game has gone on and has started to get the better of Neil Gallagher.
Well, they were absolutely out of things in the opening 20 minutes in midfield. Mayo winning very little possession. Enda Varley will kick with that left boot. He's put over 1 point from play already. Had one free that went up into the air but didn't find the target during the first half. This is one they could do with early stages of the second half, just some 7.5 minutes in. Follows through but doesn't hit with accuracy, and again it's missed.
Yeah, I know he's the kicker from the right hand side because he's a left-footed kicker, but you would just think because of Cillian O'Connor's capabilities at place kicking from any point in the ground that he should take on the responsibility of those.
Paul Durkin taking his time. And this time Very cleverly picking out Rory Kavanagh, made a drive from midfield. That's a good block. Aidan O'Shea trying to get after Kavanagh again. Lovely turn by the number 9 of Donegal. He's elusive, clever and swift. Nicely forward here. It's Paddy McGrath's up in support. This is David Walsh, his first intervention since coming on as a sub for Ryan Bradley. Poor ball straight to Jason Doherty. Mayo need a big contribution from him and from Michael Conroy. And again a wayward shot away to the right of the post. That's 3 bad misses now by Mayo in the space of about 5 minutes, and suddenly they are on 6 wides.
Yeah, just, panicking a little bit when they get the ball, like trying to take kicks from difficult angles. I know Varley's one from a dead ball should have been finished. That time Conroy had a little bit of support available to him, could have taken the ball in a little bit further. Just a little bit more composure would have stood him in good stead.
I've seen James Nallen there, one of the selectors, also the runner for Mayo, out there giving a bit of encouragement, perhaps some advice to the Mayo forwards just to take the time a bit more and be composed. This time a good catch by Neil Gallagher. That's a very important fetch. Anthony Thompson now, big one up it goes towards McFadden, well fielded by Kane, doing neatly out as far as Lee Keegan. Keegan now has an opportunity to run it forward here. Had that dislocated finger during the semi-final which forced him off. This breaks, Varley's after it, touched back by McGlynn, Durkin hits it out. Dangerous moment. Good anticipation by Donegal at the back, working it out as far as Mark McHugh. On as far as Paddy McBrear to his pal from Kilcar. Back it comes again to McHugh. McBrear taking over once more, 19 years of age, youngest player playing in today's final. Here as far as Carol Lacey, held on to it. Neil Gallagher now, 40 metres from the target. They're very short in their passes, but they're holding on to the possession, protecting the football, guarding it and being careful about where they deliver it. That was David Walsh going after it again after Keith Higgins got a fingertip to it. It's still Donegal and it's still Carol Lacey. How will this finish up? It's Michael Murphy eventually taking on the responsibility, and that one is going away to the left-hand side, and it's a missed opportunity. Breeze against him.
Yeah, missed opportunity for Donegal. Great defending though, it must be said, by Mayo, forcing Donegal wide. But this game is very much in the balance. Even though there's 4 points in it, you can see that both sides putting everything into it. And just that little bit of composure that would make the difference between winning and losing is absent with both sides at the moment.
They haven't looked like getting one, but what a goal would do for Mayo were they to get one. David Clark into midfield again. It's the towering figure there of Neely Gallagher going up, just as he did in the semi-final against Cork. Wonderful performance in midfield to Murphy. That time a high challenge, this time it's by Donald Vaughan. He's got to be careful, he's yellow carded already. Referee looked at it and Vaughan was able to walk away, slung around, needs to be disciplined.
Needs to be disciplined, but just the last 2 kickouts, we've talked about the tussle between Neil Gallagher and Barry Moore, and that time it was between Neil Gallagher and Aidan O'Shea. But Gallagher is starting to show the form that he had in the semi-final against Cork. 2 great catches under severe pressure.
It's going to be another change, and Martin McElhenney is going to come on for Donegal. That's number 17 there, and the player who's going to be replaced is going to be Paddy McBrear. So the youngster is going to come off, and another player who is strong, forceful, able to play half forward or midfield is about to come on. But before that happens, looks like Donegal are going to take their free kick. Michael Murphy standing over it. Michael, whose dad, Mick, comes from County Mayo and is watching his son, but I'm sure Mick, the dad, is watching Michael and cheering on for him, cheering him on at this stage, and cheering for Donegal as he kicks it from 45 metres. Beautiful kick, wonderfully executed to go with the goal he got after 3 minutes, and it's now 2-7 to 8 points. And this is that phase in the match now where Donegal will be hoping to tighten the nut on Mayo, squeeze them as best they can, and try and ensure that in the home straight they have a decent lead as Paddy McBrear comes off and Martin McElhenney comes on.
Yeah, I think in the Australian rules they call it the moving quarter, and there's no doubt about it that Donegal have gone into moving quarter mode at this moment. Got a couple of nice scores. I like that to the 3 misses that Donegal have. You know, it's just giving Donegal that bit more confidence.
This is Varley. Came out, got there well ahead of Paddy McGrath. Aidan O'Shea now. Oof. Thompson bounced off him. Wasn't physically strong enough to shoulder with O'Shea. And the referee has blown his whistle. It's got to be a free in for Mayo. Killian O'Connor looks like he's going to take the responsibility this time. A couple of angry gestures in there. Aidan O'Shea and Neil McGee. Well, that was the shoulder bang down when Thompson flat of his back almost. He's a big man, Aidan O'Shea. I know the Australian rules clubs are very interested in attracting him over there, but thankfully he stayed with Gaelic Games. He's a student, of course, and he's a very bright future, I think. Yeah. Enda Varley is going to take it, Martin.
Yeah, he's taking it again. Difficult angle, acute angle.
Well, he is the specialist kicker from that right-hand side with the left boot. This is his 3rd attempt at getting a point from a free. 1 point from play during the first half. So now we're in the 15th minute of the second half. This needs to go over, and this thing has gone over. Great score.
Great score, great character, great nerve, because just after, you know, a couple of moments ago that miss by him could have affected him. Took that very well.
Alan Freeman's coming on and going off Jason Doherty.
Yeah, I thought Jason Doherty worked very hard in the first half. Maybe didn't get on the ball an awful lot. Was involved in that comeback, certainly, with some of the passes he gave. But Freeman has an immense amount of ability if he can put it to use during the period that he's going to be on.
And he's gone into the inside forward line there alongside Conroy and O'Connor. But they need to get the ball into them. They need to use the breeze. They need to be creative. They need to be adventurous, Mayo. They've got to put the pressure on the Donegal backs. O'Connor kicking it in as far as Michael Conroy. 3 against him. Tries to go by the first man. That's Neil McGee. Gets it back towards Varley. Immediately surrounded, and the referee gets the whistle to his lips. Free in from 13 metres. Donegal fans near us don't agree. They're up on their feet protesting. But it's got to be a free.
Yeah, when you think about the Donegal defence, it has been noted for its concentration and discipline. They're giving away some soft enough ones here, like in the 2 games against Kerry and Cork. Cumulatively, they only conceded 4 frees that were in shooting distance. Already this game, they have conceded a lot more than that. And even
Varney felt that, and now he's getting treated for cramp.
Yes, and this is Killian O'Connor range. Okay, it's at an acute enough angle, but big kick.
Well, that is the angle confronting him there, playing in towards Hill 16. It used to be called the railway goal in the old days, when they used to refer to the goals and talking on radio about the goals at Croke Park as being the railway goal and the canal end goal. Killian O'Connor kicking, and he has managed to squeeze it in brilliantly. A 5th point from a free for the Ballintubber player, only 20 years of age, a student teacher at St. Pat's. Here it is again from a very sharp angle, and he's made it 2-7 to 10 points. 3 between them. Donegal still lead.
Yeah, he's a great head for such a young lad. He is so composed and such great temperament for this game. Great score.
Well, that's points now in this second half scored by Mayo. Leo McClune, surrounded immediately by Mayo players. They're looking for a Donegal response now. Kavanagh looks up, hits it forward towards Colin McFadden. Closed down brilliantly here. Kevin Kane lost it. McFadden has it. Donegal come again. Murphy trying to curl it in here. It's an ambitious kick. There was nobody inside there to challenge David Clark. And Mayo are able to counter-attack. And it's big Barry Moran, 6'5" tall, booting it down here towards Killian O'Connor. Couldn't take it. Anthony Thompson is back there, does well, slips it inside here. It's McHugh who carries it in, slips the hand pass into Michael Murphy, operating around midfield. On it goes through McElhenney. Eventually it's McHugh, all the Macs, and finally Rory Kavanagh takes over. Back once again towards Carol Lacey, trying to go through 2 players, trying to go around them. Lee Keegan stopped him. In then came Kevin McLaughlin. comes towards Thompson, the half-back. Swung forward once again to McElhenney. Donegal looking for scores now to steady things down and reassure themselves once again they've never been behind in this match. Frank McGlynn got a great point earlier on from up around that angle. Comes back here towards Rory Kavanagh. Oh, he knew what he was trying to do, slip it into Thompson, who'd made a very advanced run, but instead Higgins, now Dillon and Mayo go back into the attack again. Brilliantly taken once more here by Neil McGee. The fullback came out, committed himself, won it. Free kick quickly taken. In as far as David Walsh. Slips the hand pass forward, back from Leo McClune. And there on his hands and knees eventually is Michael Murphy. And the referee goes straight to the Mayo player, but signals that it's going to be a free in. And this is the reason why. Barry Moore and they're colliding with Michael Murphy and challenging him rather vigorously.
Yes, and I think he felt that he's had trouble with injuries in the past, and he certainly felt that belt. But the ebb and flow of the game the last couple of minutes has been magnificent. Both teams going at it hell for leather. There's a great sense of adventure from both teams, a great sense of, the possibilities are there for either team to go and win it. A bit of more composure on either side, who can be the most composed, the most calm, and whose decision making is best between now and the final whistle will ultimately decide who wins.
Well, he's back on his feet once again, Barry Moran, but there is always a concern about him. Referee having a word with him there about the tackle, making sure that he doesn't get into disciplinary difficulties. James Nallen out there as well.
Yes, if you just go back to the source of that for a moment, like Colm O'Boyle had a ball coming up here underneath us, talking about decision making. He just panicked with the ball a little bit. He had two men in the overlap, and from the turnover the ball has ended up now where it is, with Murphy having a chance of another free
from just inside the 45-metre line. He's got a goal and a point so far. His goal, the first score after 3 minutes, a little under that in fact, but recorded as being in the 3rd minute. This one high up into the air and between the posts and over the bar. Another one for the wonderful Glenn Swillyman, the captain of this team, hoping to do what they did 20 years ago and bring Sam Maguire back to Tyrconnell. Well, there's still plenty of time. Another 15 minutes still to be played in this final, but it's advantage Donegal as Ger Cafferty kicks it down. And back once again comes David Walsh. The substitute across here to another sub, Martin McElhenney. Both of them making their contribution. Paddy McGrath inevitably wanting to go forward. Rory Kavanagh has been busy, influential, involved time and again, dishing it off to McClune. Hand passed into space here. Coming onto it is David Walsh, who started that attack. McHugh was hoping to finish it. Instead, it's taken by David Walsh, and David Walsh has put it wide. There were some of the Donegal followers behind the goal away to the right at the Davin end who felt it was over. It wasn't. It stays at 2-8 to 10 points. In points, that's 14 points to 10. And there's another sub. Christy Toy is coming on.
Yeah, he's coming up for Leo McClune, I think it is, Ger. Leo has gone through his normal kind of shift of work, but by God, he has earned his rest at this stage.
And the subs that they've brought on have all come on for forward players. They've come on for Ryan Bradley, Paddy McBrearty, and as you say now, Leo McClune. So they freshen things up, keep the Mayo backs on their toes, and now it's up to Mayo to get something from this next attack. Alan Dillon, Lee Keegan, trying to force his way through. Good combined work by Donegal, stealing the ball back. They work as a team, they work as a unit, and this has been the pattern of play instilled in the mighty McGuinness over the last 2 years. Christy Toy kicks it very, very long. It's ambitiously there, and McFadden made it happen. He's won it from Keane. It's 2 players against him. Down he goes, and the referee's blown his whistle, and it's going to be a free in. That was almost a hopeless ball, you thought, from Christy Toy, but somehow Colm McFadden made something of it, and from this there's an opportunity for Donegal to go 5 points up.
Well, Colm McFadden made the most of it, but just before that I thought that Kevin Kane was somewhat hesitant in going for the ball. It was his ball. Had he attacked it a little bit more decisively, McFadden made the most of that indecision and, shall we say, manufactured the free for himself.
Well, he's manufactured it, but it's going to be an opportunity for Donegal to get another one, as we see Jason Gibbons being prepared. He's a midfielder, of course, and he's going to come on, I understand, for Michael Conroy.
Yes, and just going back to it again, the source of all of that, I said source quite a few times today, Ger, came when I think it was Lee Keegan was stripped of the ball over on the far side when himself and Alan Dillon were involved in a combined movement. When you turn over the ball to Donegal, they'll murder you on the counter-attack. That certainly, I think, is a free, even though I think Colin Anthony made the most of it.
Well, they certainly do punish any unforced passing errors, as you say, and they break so quickly as well. And now from all of that, it's Michael Murphy, composed, enjoying his afternoon at Croke Park. Why wouldn't he? He's had a storming match. And now, having scored a goal and two from this angle, he's able to put it over almost at his ease, if that's possible in an All-Ireland final. And now he's got a goal and three. On comes Jason Gibbons, who's playing some great football in club football for his club in Mayo. On he comes now. Plays for Ballintubber, of course, as well, which is James Horan's club. Can he exert a big influence? Michael Conroy will be disappointed coming off. They need a goal, I would imagine, Mayo.
Very much so. What's interesting in that, actually, they put Aidan O'Shea in full forward and put Jason Gibbons in his place in the middle of the field.
So now with a big target man in there, they've got to give the ball into him. So it's Killian O'Connor is the provider. In towards Aidan O'Shea. That's well read by Neil McGee once again. And it's got to be a free out. Aidan O'Shea comes in, but in fact it was Eamon, his brother, who went in to assist Neil McGee. Got there before Aidan O'Shea dragged him down.
Just one little thing, Ger. In the first half, Mayo were kicking the ball quickly, limiting their solo run. I think they're taking a little bit too much out of the ball this time with the wind behind them.
And it is Donegal who are being at their most productive. And it's Anthony Thompson. Plays it off here to Carol Lacey. Back to McGrath. Defenders up there in the attack. It's interesting when you look at the scores that the Donegal team that won 20 years ago got, the scores that this team has got in roughly the same number of matches is almost identical. And they're coming again and they're looking so menacing. And that was McElhenney kicking with difficulty because there were Mayo backs almost hanging out of him. And the end result of that is the ball has gone wide and it's going to be a kick out to Mayo. But the time ticking down, as you can see, only 10 minutes now remaining and the gap is 5 points. Richie Feeney is coming in to play his part. He got a point in the semi-final win over Dublin. It's coming on for Enda Varley. So wearing number 19, in comes Richie Feeney.
Yes, I think Richie will go into the half-forward line and into the full-forward line, and once more will go Killian O'Connor. So you have Killian O'Connor, Alan Freeman and Aidan O'Shea in the Mayo full-forward line at the moment.
It's a mad scramble at this stage in the middle of the park to try and get possession. Racing for it here is Colin McFadden, the 29-year-old player who had thought about giving up football, was persuaded by his brother-in-law to come back. His brother-in-law, of course, is Jim McGuinness. Back it comes here once again to Rory Kavanagh. Dangerous ball in! Could have gone anywhere. It's gone over the bar. And it's Michael Murphy once again. Goal and 4 now for him. Well, he came in there fearlessly, tacked that ball, got there ahead of the goalkeeper. There was nothing David Clark could do about it, or Ger Cafferty. Sheer determination won that for Michael Murphy, and now he's fully determined with his Donegal colleagues now to hold on to the lead and to take the cup back to Donegal for the second time ever. Murphy once again loses it this time. Cafferty has it, kicks it down. They need scores urgently now, Mayo. They're getting nothing easily, however. Killian O'Connor dragged down this time by Paddy McGrath, free in.
A lot of people in Donegal have Murphy this year that he hasn't been scoring enough, but he's exercising a decisive influence on the outcome today.
Well, Mayo haven't scored yet from play in this second half, but they need scores from somewhere. Aidan O'Shea trying to get possession, looking to play it to a loose player, a spare player in the red and green of Mayo, and it's eventually Killian O'Connor who kicks it waywardly away to the left-hand side. And they're almost running out of gas, this particular Mayo team, in this challenge, and it's almost 11 minutes since they last scored.
It is, yes, and it's incumbent on the subs that come in, the Jason Gibbons, the Alan Freemans, and Richie Feeney at this time to infuse a little bit more energy into the team. Lots of other fellas have emptied the tank nearly at this stage. It big last 10, 15, whatever it is, 9 or 10 minutes for Mayo.
Well, that's the Sunday game, of course. It's on tonight, 9:30 with Des Cahill. Will be at the Winners Hotel. And don't forget, before that, good radio programmes. Brian Carty at just after 6 on Radio 1, Championship programme, and then Damien O'Reilly with Take your point at 7. Your chance to comment on what you see today in the 2012 final. Lee Keegan for Mayo. Played in here towards Donald. Vaughan couldn't take it. Instead it is a very dominant looking Donegal side now, and Eamon McGee in command. And they're playing it out here with sheer determination and a swagger and a style which has been part and parcel of their play all season. McElhenney diagonally across, asking an awful lot of McFadden, and he chases after that one. It went off the boot of Kevin Kane. It's going to be a line ball for Donegal, who are now just about 6.5 minutes away from the final whistle, or close to it, and they've that 2-goal cushion the whole time, and those 2 vital goals coming in the opening 11 minutes of this game. McFadden getting the second of those, kicks it in, goes very, very long. It won't matter a great deal at this stage because they have that comfortable lead. And Michael Murphy taking umbrage with something that happened there involving Kevin Kane. Mayo kick it out quickly, out to Alan Dillon. Played in the final of 2004 and scored a goal that day. Played in 2006, lost those 2 finals, and it's not looking too good here. But there is still time, and you never know. Here's Kevin McLaughlin. Everybody for Donegal virtually back there, the kind of defence, but Richie Feeney trying to steal a march on them all, onto the right and hitting it over the bar. His second ever championship point and a valuable contribution. It just about keeps Mayo going here. 5 between them once again, but now the time ticking down to about 5 minutes from the finish. His family steeped in the traditions of Gaelic games in Mayo, and the Mayo fans here just trying to raise a cheer once again now to get right behind the team if they can win some primary possession in and around midfield, because Donegal have been known in the past to take their foot off the pedal metaphorically for the last few minutes. Lee Keegan advancing, hitting with some difficulty. It's up into the air. Oh, lands on the netting and goes over the bar. Amazingly, highly ambitious. Well, he is a great driving force, Lee Keegan, the 22-year-old from Westport, playing today in his 7th championship match. Down it came, bang onto the netting, and now it's a 4-point game, and nobody's giving up just yet where Mayo's concerned.
An absolute beauty, and I just talked a couple of moments ago about the impact the subs needed to make. Richie Feeney in the last 2 plays has contributed a point and assist that time. They need 1 or 2 more.
Paul Durkin again. They need to win this one, and they do. Back down to Colin Boyle, sending it in long. Remember, Aidan O'Shea's in there now, but then Donegal have got a covering back in front of him. Very, very clever tactics. They have a lot of players back, and Donegal hold the possession here now, will weather this little storm and realise there is still some work to do. Rory Kavanagh. They've been through many a crisis in the last couple of years. Came back from that horrible beating against Armagh 2 years ago in the championship, on the same day that Mayo were knocked out by Longford, and 20 of the 30 players who played that day are in action in this All-Ireland final. It's still Donegal and it's still David Walsh. Again they try and work it forward. Christy Toy now, battle-hardened warrior over the years, going nowhere because he's surrounded by Mayo players, but it's back to David Walsh once more. Now Neil Gallagher, space on the left-hand side. Frank McGlynn cleverly using that space. Back in again it comes to beautifully constructed, neatly choreographed and finished by Neil Gallagher, knocking it over the bar. The big physically imposing midfielder gets up to get just his first point in this match, the 3rd in this year's championship. 3 or 4 players involved, and that could be very, very important. Highly decisive, I would think.
I'd agree with you, Jerk. It's the decisive score of the match, and it has probably set the seal for a Donegal victory.
Back come Mayo. Richie Feeney once again. Jerk Cafferty trying to join the attack. Likewise Keith Higgins, and while they were considering their move, the ball was stolen by Donegal and swiftly forward by McElhenney once more. Christy Toy, who was the architect of that last attack, holding it up here now. Just a steadying influence in and around midfield, able to hold the ball, shave a few seconds off the clock as we get closer and closer to 70 minutes. 68 minutes gone, and once again It's Rory Kavanagh sending it in as far as Carol Lacey. Lacey just holding it, taking it back from McElhenney. Again, trying to locate a colleague, but that time picking out Feeney. And on now as far as McLaughlin. Mayo need a goal. 2 against 2, and there's an extra player going back to help out. In fact, 2. Thompson, the other extra player who went back for Donegal. When there's a sniff of danger, they all go back and they shoulder the responsibility collectively.
Yeah, but the collective work that time with Freeman and Aiden wasn't that, was poor, because if one of them had gone for the ball, the other broken it, I think something more could have come of it.
Donal Vaughan, back to Cafferty. In here as far as Killian O'Connor. All his points have come from frees when he was in around full forward. Jason Gibbons hitting it long, very neatly so, over the bar. Really good play by Jason Gibbons there. And Jason Gibbons getting his first ever championship point. But is it far too late and far too little, because there are still 4 between them?
Yeah, Donegal at the moment looks set fair to win this game. Mayo will need a goal, obviously what I'm saying, but they'll need a goal or 2, I think, to win this game. But I cannot see them overcoming them by scoring 5 points in the last couple of minutes.
Well, Shamie O'Shea has come on for Barry Mullen. Getting a few minutes of action here as Kevin McLaughlin carries it forward once again in the 70th minute of this final, where Mayo made an awful start, battled hard to get themselves back into it, but there was always that gap. Closest they could get was about 3 minutes. Maybe here, you never know. Still possible. Stumbling, falling, and eventually the referee has gone in from a distance and said play on. And Mayo looked like they were lining up for a score there. You had Shamie O'Shea and you had Jason Gibbons in there, foraging, waiting. 3 minutes of added time are going to be played as we watch this again. Alan Freeman, Shamie O'Shea, down went Rory Kavanagh. Still it was Shamie O'Shea.
Yeah, I think in fairness, Shamie lost his balance that time. I don't think he was fouled, and Durkin is perfectly entitled to gather the ball inside the small rectangle like that.
No question about it. He did stumble, and the goalkeeper was, as you say, absolutely entitled to do what he did. And the end result, a free out. So 30 seconds of the opening 3 minutes of added time is now being played. And there's the Sam Maguire Cup, first presented in 1928, and the first winners were Kildare. Will the latest winners be Donegal? Into stoppage time. And once again it is Mayo awarded a free kick, and it's going to be taken here by Shamie O'Shea. Better hurry. They need a couple of quick goals, and I don't think it's going to happen for them, because this is a mean, resolute Donegal defence, and down went Anthony Tompkins under the weight of that challenge.
Yes, and this suits Donegal perfectly. Aidan O'Shea came in that time, fouled Anthony Thompson, probably will take a booking as a consequence, and slows the game down, and perfect for Donegal.
It's of no benefit whatsoever to Mayo, that's for sure, as they are set, it seems, to lose what will be their 3rd final in 7 years. And a long, long line of disappointments as O'Shea gets the yellow card. It'll be their 6th All-Ireland final defeat in 23 years since their last victory some 61 years ago, and counting at this point in time. Dermot the Brick Malloy has come on, and he's come on in place there of I think it's Martin McElhenney who's come off for the last couple of minutes. It's a case of an opportunity to share in the glory, and that's what it's set to be in about another minute's time. And it's a free kick to Donegal. They were the favourites coming into this. Many people said, how could Jim McGuinness possibly shield his players from all that was happening around them? The county was on fate. There were people coming from all over the world to see Donegal win what will be a 2nd All-Ireland championship. They kept their feet on the ground. They were resolute and determined, and they have engineered what is certainly a marvellous victory. And finally it's Rory Kavanagh kicking, and Rory Kavanagh puts that one to the left. It's not going to matter very much, other than that it's the 7th wide. And now we wait for Jim McGuinness and his team to take the salute of the crowd. 15 seconds to go. Referee's looked at his watch. It's going to play at least 3 minutes. It's sheer agony for Mayo and their followers No county deserves to lose like they have lost, but it happens. That's sport, and we all know about that. They ran into a very, very tough Donegal team as Michael Murphy went down injured. It's all over, and Donegal are the All-Ireland champions. They'll leap for joy. Jim McGuinness there, Rory Gallagher, I should say. 20 years on from the day the Tyrconnell men won their first, they've won another. Then it was Brian McAniff calling the shots, and now it's Jim. Jim McGuinness has guided a group of talented, highly motivated players. He's challenged them to do it his way, and the players have bought into the notion, and they've realised their potential, and the crowds are staying off the field. It must be very hard for them. This Donegal side has beaten Mayo, and it's abject misery for the Connacht champions. But today's day is for Jim McGuinness and for Donegal. They've done it from a near empty base 2 years ago in Crossmaglen, where they lost a qualifier to Armagh, and they've come through 2 Ulster campaigns unbeaten to inflict yet another final defeat on Loughless Mayo. They'll be taking that Sam Maguire Cup home. Donegal the masters, Donegal the champions. Jim has done it. They've all done it. Donegal are the new winners of the Sam Maguire, and an emotional, quite emotional tsunami is sweep over Donegal. More misery, however, for Mayo.
Well, Jerry, it must be said that after the Dublin defeat last year, Donegal were regarded as pariahs. They were regarded as the group who had cannibalised the code. They were looked on as the apostles of anti-football. But this group of guys have shown quality. They've forced a rethink and a reassessment on how they should be accepted. They've been exceptional athletes, and they've stitched together 7 displays of power, teamwork, where athleticism, skill, belief and courage, character have been the trademarks of their play. They're worthy winners today. They're deserving champions. And from the tip of Malin to the southerly point of the Grouse River, to the hills, the valleys, the towns along the majestic coastline, through the wild wilderness of the Blue Stacks, this will be celebrated by no other, and fair play to them.
Yeah, it certainly is their day. Michael Murphy, the captain. Jim McGuinness, a man who has always accentuated the positive. And this trophy, the most famous trophy in Irish sport, is going back to Tyrconnell. She's happy. They're all happy. Jim's fixed it.
And could I just mention briefly, Seamus Boner, a great stalwart of Donegal, is watching this, not in great form at the moment, as is Jim Natch Gallagher. And Seamus O'Kane, who emigrated on this day in 1961 to go to Australia, former great Donegal footballer. It's a great day for them. But for Mayo, just to go to them, they have nothing, only, the disappointment of losing will be acute. But their character, their defiance was wonderful to witness today after an appalling start. And they've come out of this with an awful lot of credit.
Well, there were a lot of people wondering whether or not Carol Lacey and his colleagues would be able to enjoy this without the fans intruding and coming in. And thankfully the fans are playing their part by staying up on Hill 16 and in the seats and in the stands, and allowing the players just this moment to themselves. They always say afterwards, the 20 minutes or so after the final whistle, when they're down there on the ground, that's so special.
Yes, and when you think about it, Carl Lacey today, maybe it wasn't his most spectacular game, but it was, as we said before, the power of the collective, that honesty and hard work that Donegal have shown all year, and the hope and expectation of all rhymed together today have come together for Jim McGuinness. Colm Anthony McFadden, a person who was on the scrap heap 3 years ago. Tim McGon, the county chairman, with him, a wonderful former footballer himself, and look at that for joy.
And the sun has come out as well, making it just the most perfect day if you happen to be from Donegal. But sympathies to everybody from Mayo. They played their hearts out, as Martin Carney was saying, but defeat is their lot once again. There's PJ McGowan there, the county chairman. There's Paddy McBrearty, the youngest player to play in the final. Frankie McGlynn there, and Michael Murphy. And there's a picture for the local papers, I'm sure, later in the week. And the music sounds all around Croke Park. And it's a sheer picture of joy. A wonderful afternoon for Donegal. It's about the winners, however. tough on the losers.
Very hard on the losers, very hard on Mayo. The stomach defeat once more, but as I said, Mayo have come out of this game today with a lot of kudos. After that appalling start where the were 7 points down within, the first 10 minutes of the match, they really took the game back to Donegal. They really forced Donegal to come out and earn that victory today. But Jim McGuinness's imprint, thumbprint, whatever print you want to call it, has been on this team from the beginning. And by God, have they come some journey from the ashes of Crossmaglen 2 years ago.
Well, we just are about to see the presentation of the Samaguar Cup to Donegal. And the Taoiseach there, a disappointed Mayo man, as all Mayo people will be, and the President. Uachtar an Cumann Lucra Scale, Liam O'Neill about to make that presentation. 20 years on, can you believe it? From the day they won it with Brian McAniff in charge, Anthony Malloy, Martin McHugh, James McHugh, all the great players, Joyce McMullen. Now it's a whole new group of players. They are the new legends.
Yes, and
It's law úntacha seo de Felgéireach agus a Cumann Lucra Scale agus bhálam buchas a gháil le Mayo agus Donegal as an cléthe úntach bríomhar sportiúil a thugad ar doing inniu. Tá ardmhola tilteag ag an dá éireann. Bhálam comhrónach ar inniuil de Mayo Predator go dtí an deire ach bhí an búch an fearn na star inniu. Tres Liam O'Cree le Donegal as an bua úntach a bhí acu inniu. Bhíidir mar foireann na bliana ó hús na bliana agus is críoch arúnach é seo dóibh inniu. Bhálam buchas a gháil le Ulster Bank, Super Value agus Aircom as an óireacht a thugad ar doing ar an gréibh seo. Agus anis is cúis áthis agus an óra dom, Corn Sam McGuire, ar bhrunna ar fellador na bliana, Captain úntach Donegal, Mícheál Ó Murchú.
1992 has been bridged. 2012, Michael Murphy from Glenswilly, only 23 years of age, takes the Samaguar Cup from Liam O'Neill. Donegal are champions! Champions for the second time, and very, very worthy champions. Celebration time at Croke Park, where 82,000 people have witnessed the occasion. Well, he came, Jim McGuinness, with a message to the players, and they believed. He gave them the challenge. They took on board that challenge. This is the end result.
Yeah, I'm so pleased for Michael Murphy. Wonderful young fella, humble lad, guy who has given immense service to the county even at a tender age of 23. And just when you look at him there, his dad will be so proud today, a Bunny Conlon man from County Mayo, but his dad, Mayo he might be born, but by Donegal he will be today in heart and soul.
We have him! Uachtar an na hÉireann, Uachtar an Cumann Lucra Scale, na Cardi Gale, Tá as an dó an orm, an Coran Shaw Glachu, ar fearn Donegal. Delighted to accept this trophy on behalf of the Donegal team. It's an absolute fantastic honour and privilege here to climb these steps on behalf of each and every one of these players to my left, the management team out there, and each and every one of the people of Donegal. Firstly, to go through a lot of thank yous to these players here to my left. The commitment, the dedication, everything that they have done over the last 2+ years has been an absolute credit. I'd say a massive shout out to each and every one of the players that have put the shoulder to the wheel throughout the last 2 years. Thanks, boys. To the families, to the wives, to the girlfriends, to all the close friends, to each and every one of the players and backroom team, I want to really thank you from the bottom of my heart for the continued support that you've given us throughout the last couple of years. Massive dedication that everybody had to put on. A big thank you to you. To the backroom team, to Pat Shovelin, Maxie Kern, Michael McMenamin, Joe McCluskey, Charles McGuinness, to Adam Spear, Eugene Ivers and Gavin Ward. Boys, thanks a million for getting us in the best of shape. To the medical team, Mr. Kevin Moore and Dr. Charlie McManus, Dermot Simpson, JD McGrenner, Donald Reid, Charlie Malloy and Paul Coyle. Thanks for keeping all the injuries at bay. Thanks a million, man. To the sponsors, Missouri, Donegal Creameries, and to everyone that's generously contributed towards the whole training fund all year. A really thanks to the whole lot of us. As I say, to run a team these years takes a lot of money, and as I say, thanks a million to everyone. I want to give a special thanks to Evolve Menswear in Letterkenny for kitting us out with suits and casual gear throughout the year, and also to McGuinness Buses and Kevin for the top class transport. To the County Board for their operational support and help throughout the whole number of years. Thanks a million for making everything possible. We're getting there. To the clubs all around the county, I just want to thank a million for the use of their pitches and facilities, especially St Gideon's, McCool's and Castlefin. To our caterers throughout the year, Jimmy McGlynn, Jackson's Hotel, Villa Rose, Mount Errigal and Abbey Hotel, Johnstown House, thanks a million. To the Mayo team, just want to thank you a million, boys, for a sporting game out there today. Out there today, could have went anywhere at all. They're a fantastic group of footballers, and I'm sure we'll be seeing them back throughout the years. 3 cheers for Mayo. Hip hip. Hip hip. Hip hip. So 2 men now that have helped us and brought this county over the last couple of years from something small to an All-Ireland final. The 2 of them have put in a massive effort. To Rory Gallagher for his help, his footballing knowledge. A fantastic addition to Donegal and Donegal football. Rory, from each one of the players here and from people in Donegal, I'd like to thank you very much. To Jim McGuinness, where do we start? Every man and woman in Donegal, both players and people alike, owe him a massive debt of gratitude. The man's work ethic is just absolutely, it's undescribable. His passion for Donegal football